Club International Speech Contest winner, potential future world champion of public speaking. And he says, don't know if you have it. The speech is called, I Want My Sky Crane. Everyone, please welcome Gary Penn.
Who remembers 2012? Nobody remembers 2012. You're all lying. Nothing of value really happened in 2012. There's nothing exciting about 2012 except 2012 was the year that NASA moved the very last retired space shuttle across Los Angeles into the Science Center. It was on the front page of the paper. It was an astounding feat. It was proof positive, fellow Toastmasters and guests, that NASA can not only put a man on the moon, they can conquer downtown LA traffic. Amazing. And so, I'm driving this past weekend, and I come to a halt on the freeway, and I think, haven't we solved this yet? Let's put NASA in charge. Space shuttles are retired. These guys aren't doing anything. Gotta be bored. And they already figured out the problem. They know the answer. We're ready to go. So I did what any curious person would do in 2018. I looked it up on the internet to see if they had enough budget to take on the problem, and it turns out the Federal Highway Administration's budget is about $160 billion. Big B billion. That's a lot of money. NASA's budget is about $13 billion. There's a zero missing on the end there if we really want these guys to solve this. After all, these are the same people that could take a space shuttle, a 163,000-pound object, no big deal, send it into space, have it go through orbit 17,000 miles an hour, and dock with the space station 6 times its size and land not on a dime. No, it docks on a pin. Now, to put this in context, because the sizes are way bigger than I could possibly imagine, I need you to picture for me 24 African elephants, trunk to tail, lined up, and they're running full speed. I forgot to mention, they're coated in silica tiles because they're outside the atmosphere. They have to be protected from the sun. Full speed, running through orbit, and they dock with a giant object like the size of the Empire State Building, not on a dime, on a pin. If this is what NASA can do, I want in. This is amazing. A couple days later, I'm driving again. This happens often in Southern California. I'm cresting over the hills of the toll road in Orange County, having a lovely day. The top's down, the wind in my hair. Everything's going well. I'm listening to the radio and I lost my poor radio signal. And then I thought, an epiphany. NASA already solved this problem. I know, it's crazy. NASA already solved the problem. In 1978, they sent the Voyager spacecraft to explore the Milky Way. Guess what it's still doing? Communicating back to Earth. It is 13 billion, with a B, miles away. And it communicates with Earth how? Not with a tethered internet cable. No. With a radio signal. If NASA can get the Voyager to speak to Earth from 13 billion miles an hour, don't you think that all of us should be able to listen to KCRW on the toll road? It seems pretty easy. Let's put it in the hands of NASA. Finally, let's fast forward. Just this morning, I'm sitting in traffic, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I see a scowling adult sitting, looking in the rearview mirror at another scowling adult, and so on and so on and so on, and I wonder myself, why are we all scowling? And then I remember, all of us of the working age remember the science books of the 70s and 80s, and they said, the flying car is coming. The flying car. We can't even get a Tesla off the assembly line. There's no flying car coming anytime soon. But wait, NASA has solved this problem too. You see, they sent a rover to Mars millions of miles away, and they crashed it into the surface. Oh, no, that was the first rover they crashed into the surface. It bounced along on some balloons. The second rover, the size of an SUV, that one landed gently on the surface, and with a joystick, they drove it around. NASA can drive a rover by joystick on Mars, but I can't get a flying Honda? This is craziness. Do you know how they landed that thing? You're not going to believe it. They have a flying saucer. I'm not making it up. Go look it up. They have a flying saucer with a winch. They literally took a flying saucer, sent it to Mars, put down a winch, connected the SUV, landed it on the planet, drove it around. You know what that thing's called? It's called a sky crane. A sky crane. NASA gets sky crane. You good people of Southern California get Carmageddon. This does not feel fair to me. Let's put NASA in charge. After all, this could not possibly be rocket science. Or maybe it is. Mr. Toastmaster.
Larry, if you could please put a minute